So hello and welcome to another episode of Exploring Parks in VR. What we're going to do this time is explore mostly around Europe and some of the sites and parks we can visit there. So we're starting out today at a park called Tibi Dabo in Barcelona, which is an absolutely stunning park. It's got two roller coasters, the most significant of which is this Vekoma family terrain coaster here, which swoops along the sides of the mountain, and it's really quite good fun. But the main reason for coming up here is the spectacular views that you get. So we have this church, which looks amazing, even better in person. But we also have this fantastic view out over Barcelona, which is just stunning. If we look at it in real life, we end up meeting a strange person. This is one thing with Google Maps that you can find. A lot of photos are taken by Google themselves, but quite a lot are submitted by the public, which means you end up with giant people who are holding cell phones or selfie sticks. If we move a bit further, we'll hopefully get a better view, maybe up here. But yeah, this is an absolutely stunning view you get from this park outside. It's also home to a few rather weird attractions, including a plane on a stick and a bucket on a stick. These attractions, you literally just sit in a bucket at the top there and it goes round. Gives you a slightly taller view. And this, likewise, this plane, it just goes round in a circle over the edge. Really quite a strange ride, which looks even stranger in the photo that's kind of merged between several shots. See if we can get a better one. But you get the idea, it's really quite a strange one. But yes, this is Tibi Dabo, which is an absolutely stunning park with the view you get. Really pretty and well worth visiting if you're in Barcelona. But that's enough for this park from now, so let's quickly shoot out towards Barcelona and head off to our next destination. So the next park we're visiting is this one here, which is called Belantis, which Google unfortunately tries to autocorrect into Balanitis whenever you type it in, which is something completely different. But yes, I visited this park a few years ago, and it's got a few interesting things. The most notable coaster here is probably this one here, which is a very rough Gerstlauer Eurofighter, which I think they've got a good impression of how rough it is from how they've modelled it. There's a couple of other coasters, so there's a family coaster here, along with a water ride which goes through this giant pyramid. And there is a Gerstlauer bobsleigh over here, which is probably the best coaster in the park. It goes all around this sort of castle and out. But the reason I'm showing you this here is this is a park that's themed into certain zones. So if we have a look, we could convince ourselves that looks kind of Spanish. This bit is supposed to look kind of Italian. French section. And of course, it's got a castle, so it's got to be Britain. And then we can come over to this section of the park, which is obviously themed to North America. So the reason this is particularly interesting is because of the way the park's laid out. If we zoom out, you can kind of get the picture that it's designed around a map. So we've got Spain there, we've got France there, Italy looking slightly wonky, of course Egypt down there, and Britain looking probably more wonky than most, and the coast of America, where I presume this is Florida. It's interesting to get this perspective on the park, because you can kind of get a feel for it on the ground, but only really from above do you see it the way it's meant to be seen, which is kind of cool. So as we come along past the Belgian coast here, we're coming to another park called Plopsaland. Now its entrance is quite remarkable, as it's got this giant doorway which you can pose for photos with. So let's quickly go through here because we are visiting Plopsaland. So this is a really nice park as well. The newest coaster here is this one, which is called Heidi. This is actually a near clone of White Lightning at Fun Spot in America. So if you've ridden that, you'll know it's a really good fun coaster. Other notable coasters they've got here is they've got a roller skater, which goes through a washing machine. You've also got a super splash. And this is probably the best coaster they have here, apart from the wooden one. This is Anubis, which is themed to a TV show, but it's a launched Gerstlauer Eurofighter, which the launch is quite a kick-off and it's got quite a fun layout. Another new section of the park is this one, with a really nicely themed disco coaster. But the main reason I'm coming here isn't to show you so much what is here, but what isn't. You'll notice if we have a look on the ground here, there's a rather pixelated area of mystery. Now this is the quirk of Google Maps. Sometimes you do get places that are restricted, so you can't take photos there. So if we go down to ground level, we can have a look and there's something mysterious blurred there. If we go to the other side, through the mystery zone, again we have something mysterious and blurred. Whatever could it be? But every single shot of it is blurred. So what could it be? Well, let's have a look outside of VR. So on Google Maps, the area is quite extensively blurred, but on Bing Maps, it appears to be uncensored, and we can spot what appears to be some sort of cell phone or communication tower that corresponds to the place that was blurred in Street View. Strangely, however, Apple Maps has tried to censor it too, but they seem to have missed the point by blurring the street and not the tower. So we will say goodbye to Plopsaland and head off to our next stop. So our next stop brings us to Dusseldorf in Germany, because we're going to a huge fun fair. Or we would be if it was finished. So this is Kirmes, or which I'm probably butchering the pronunciation of. But it's under construction here, so this is a huge fun fair that takes place on the shores of the Rhine. And we can see a couple of rides here, but not everything's set up. So I think this is a water ride called Bahn. Over here, we have quite a large looking coaster, which I think is Alpina Bahn, which is a Schwarzkopf, and kind of almost a sister coaster of this one, which is probably the most famous travelling coaster in the world during partial construction. So this is, of course, Olympia Looping, which is a really fun coaster. It's got 5 loops in it. It looks absolutely stunning, but it's kind of novel here to get an idea of what it looks like part way up. If we go have another look at Alpina Bahn here, I was actually able to track down an intact version of this. So if we zoom off, let's go to our next stop. So our next stop here is in Stuttgart for Kangenstätte, which again I'm probably mispronouncing, Volksfest. Because if we zoom down here, we can find another German Funfair. We may even be able to recognise some rides. So this obviously appears to be a wild mouse, called Wilde Maus, a giant funfair wheel. If we have a look on ground level, we can see another touring coaster, which isn't actually here in the 3D version. So this appears to be Test Track, which is a fun coaster. So Test Track's actually moved. It used to tour the funfair circuit. Actually, before that, it used to be at Dorney Park, of all places. But now it's somewhere else. It's really interesting because a lot of these are like photos taken at different times. You've got a huge drop tower here. And German Funfairs are absolutely fantastic to visit if you ever get the chance. But the main reason I was going to come here is because this is the same coaster we saw earlier, which is Alpina Bahn. And probably isn't going to be visible, but we can have a look. No, so this was obviously taken at a different time when Alpina Bahn wasn't here. But yeah, this is another huge Schwarzkopf coaster. It was really good fun. It didn't have quite as much airtime as I'd hoped it would have when I rode it. Let's just stop here for a beer, shall we? And this could actually be the same ride we saw before, Bahn. Which isn't here in this version. But Test Track is. So our final stop on the German Funfair circuit is to show another famous coaster. So let's head there right now. So we're coming in here to the historic city of Nuremberg, which is so much history behind it. And this is Nuremberg Volksfest, which is another of the German Funfairs. And we can see another bottle ride here. So what else have we got here? We've got a fun house. We've got a slightly melted wild mouse. We've obviously got a ghost train of some sort. We have a drop tower. I think the most interesting coaster they've got here is one round at the front. Now this may not look like a coaster, but this is Hollenblitz, which is the world's largest travelling indoor roller coaster, which is a really crazy and unique spinning coaster. But if we want to see the final one of the final big rides that you get at German Funfairs, we can go inside, and the final one that's noteworthy is Wild Mouse XXL, which is an extended version of a wild mouse. But I've not been able to find it in 3D anywhere. A lot of these rides actually do come to the UK during Hyde Park Winter Wonderland, so you can get the chance to ride them there. But otherwise it's fun to explore these German places. Anyway, I think that'll do for this episode just now. There's loads more places I'm going to show you. So if you enjoyed this, let me know. Thanks again so much for watching. I've been Rollercoaster David, and I'll see you again in another video very soon.